episode of Live in the Vision. I'm your host, Chris Jacobson. With me today is my guest, Blake Carda, co-owner of Buell's Dry Cleaning in Yankton. And I'll let Blake sort of introduce a little bit of his background and what Buell's does and what brought you to be in the dry cleaning business.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Chris, for having me. Basically, Buell's does anything from dry cleaning to hospital laundry to rug rental, bar towels, pretty much a little bit of everything. We even kind of dabble in paper products with some of the customers we have here. We basically started 6 years ago now. Been doing it since and learning every day. It's something that we enjoy and like getting up in the morning to go to work and do.
Yeah, I had no idea. So, I mean, dry cleaning, I know that my shirts have to be pressed and all of that stuff. So that's where I started taking my shirts to you guys. But I had no idea you guys did rugs. And so my nice carpet at the office stays nice because I have a rug to cover it. But you guys have a good operation over there between rugs and linens and shirts and all of that. It's a lot.
It is. It's a lot more than people actually think we do. Rugs is probably our biggest staple. You walk into a restaurant or even a radio station here, you see Buell's rugs on the floor, and it even goes as far as, I guess, we have alterations in the back room. People have anything from shirts to, we had a guy the other day that brought in a zipper for his semi. He had that divided the sleeper from the cab. We can pretty much fix about anything down there.
Yeah, and you guys did a patch for my son's swim coat. That was pretty sweet. He's got a swim parka and did a really nice job stitching on his state patch. So that was pretty neat. So I'm really curious about this, Blake. I know that your background is farming, correct?
Yep.
And so tell us what brought you to want to do business with respect to dry cleaning. Farming to dry cleaning seems like kind of a jump. What got you there?
It is a big jump. And at the time when we were looking at getting into it, we just kind of, my brother and I are the ones, we split everything kind of 50-50. So Tyler would be the partner.
Mm-hmm.
We just kind of looked at each other and thought maybe, hey, it'd be a good idea to branch out, diversify. But at the same time, we're telling ourselves laundry. My mom did our laundry at the time, and we didn't. It's just something that we didn't seem to, enjoy a whole lot. But we actually, it started out with when we were in high school. We were out, kind of doing some. We were actually looking to kind of get some new stuff for our hobby, which is hunting. So we were out at Dakota Archery, and the brother and I were with my dad. And there's a guy that was out there, and he had kind of holes in his shoes and we were kind of just making small talk and saying, look at that guy, not making fun of him or anything, but just, kind of thankful for what we had, nice shoes, nice clothes and everything. And he overheard us talking about just the situation and everything. And then he said, that's why you go to school and you get a good job so you can afford, good shoes and stuff like that. And it actually turned out this guy was one of the wealthier guys in town here, and it turned out where he wanted us to actually come out and work for him. This guy that I'm talking about would have been Harry Batchelor. He invited us to come out turkey hunting, and from there it just kind of the ball kept rolling. We started with some turkey hunting, then ended up helping him, and that's kind of where we developed a little bit of love for the farm and all that. That led us into meeting some of the friends that he had, which ultimately brought us over to the Buell side of things. Ken Buell would have been a friend of Harry at the time, and he was kind of knew the type of people that my brother and I were, and wanted to see if there was someone locally that would take over the business or be interested in running Buell's. Because at the time, him and his ex-wife were getting older and just kind of looking to move on and get out of things. And he approached us, and we just basically told him no at first, and he kept coming back. And eventually we looked at the books, and it was something that we figured would be a good fit to, like we said, diversify at the time with the way the farm economy and all that was going. So
That's fascinating how it things come together. Like we never know how it's gonna work out. And turkey hunting lent itself to the start of your business.
that's exactly right.
So I'm really curious about this family dynamic. Tyler is your twin brother.
Yep, that is correct. I'm a little older than him, so I got that on him, I guess.
So what is it like running a business with your twin brother?
You know, it's good and bad at the same time. There's the best thing and the thing you can't take away from it is you can always count on them. It doesn't matter the time of day, the situation that you're in, they're always going to be there to help you. But at the same time, too, you know, you need to remember that they are family, and you can't take advantage of that. But like I said, I wouldn't want to be doing it with anybody else, and it's been good for us both so far.
I completely agree with that. Being, you know, husband and wife business that we're in, I know I can count on my wife because it's both of our skin in the game. So I know at the end of the day, she's going to be there, you know, till the last hour, till the job gets done, and it's comforting to know that you're in it with somebody else who's going to put in, you know, the blood, sweat, and tears, so to speak. But that's really interesting. So, speaking of those blood, sweat, and tears, talk a little bit about what it was like getting your arms around the dry cleaning operation and the time it took to really get it up and going.
Yeah. So like I said, when we came into this thing, we didn't know a whole lot about cleaning at the time. My mom had done all the laundry throughout college and all that for us. We kind of got lucky. So we came in, and Ken Buell, like I said, he found us and kind of just showed us the ropes. We started one thing at a time. The biggest reason he came to my brother and I was because of the fact that we, you know, wanted to work, wanted to put in the effort, wanted to put in the time and do all that, and that's what he knew would make the business successful. So I mean, that's the biggest thing is, you know, we just had the willingness to go out and hopefully, you know, make this thing great and do that. We are still, like I mentioned earlier, you know, every day is a learning curve. There's something new that comes about that you want to learn or need to learn to make things better. It's getting to the point now where it's a little bit easier. You know, we're able to hire people that we need to put in management spots. So it's not, all the burden's not on you. When things started, it was a little bit more stressful cash flow wise, to make things go around. But it's hopefully becoming a little easier here every day that we go on.
Right. I think about the when you're going through, you're recognizing things. It's pattern recognition. I was talking about that in a different episode, that we recognize patterns and we figure out a way to make it better, to make it more efficient, and you just kind of hit your head against the wall enough times and you kind of figure out there's a best way to do this. And so that's really interesting. Going back to your last point of cash flow, you know, I think we had this conversation one time where I think too many people want to have too many nice things maybe too soon. And you know, I know that you drive an older truck, I drive an older truck. Like, talk about how you make that cash flow work, you know, through sacrificing, maybe having a nicer vehicle.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we were talking here a little bit before getting on the air here, and we were talking about how, you know, you don't jump into the nicest house, you know, you don't drive the nicest vehicle. You got to take steps, and that's what my wife and I did. My brother and his wife have done, and that's just what makes things go around. We, for instance, jumped into an older house over on Green Street here in town, and it was a first-time home. We took advantage of the first-time home buyer, turned it around, flipped it, you know, moved on to the next thing, and that's kind of the same thing with business. When we are going down there at Buell's, some of the equipment that we got into right away wasn't, you know, the latest and the greatest, didn't do everything the fastest, but we had to keep going with what we had. You know, you put more sweat into it than it probably needed to or should, but at the time the cash flow and the cash just wasn't there. And as we kind of got things rolling and operating a little more smoothly, it just kind of, you put the money back into the business, and it leads into, having nicer equipment and nicer stuff to make the job a little easier.
That's 100%. The organic growth, I think, is really important. You can't reach further than what your cash flow can allow you to do, and so I mean, it's like you said, as the thing grows and gets off the ground, then you expand. I think too often we want too much too fast, and that can burn us. The way to have a sustainable business is to be conservative about your expenditures and do the best you can there. I think that's really interesting. I think expenses, I guess taking a step back, in college and in high school, we aren't really learning like personal finance, and I think too many people are just too leveraged, whether it's student loan debt or the house they decided to buy or the car that they quote unquote needed to have has put them in a place like, how on earth would I be able to start a business? But I think by managing those expenses, like you said, buying an older home and flipping it and make a little equity, don't spend that,
Yep.
but that's your seed capital maybe that ends up helping you eventually start that business, making expenses not as much of a barrier.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And that, I mean, like you said, it goes from homes to everything. I mean, shoes and just the little stuff. It really adds up. I know my dad has always taught us that from young. The pennies turn into nickels and the nickels turn into dollars, and it really adds up.
Yeah, I think a takeaway for the average person is there's something that each person knows a lot about, and if they can see that value and act on it, they can then earn. They can start setting aside capital. And what I mean by that is whether it's a home, whether you know cars really well and you can buy a car that's all beat up and you can make it run again and you can sell it for double or triple or whatever. The market was down 1,000 points today. That's a good day to buy stocks. I mean, that's my background is in financial planning, but I would buy when the market was lowest and then sell when it's high, and that's how you can earn that seed money that you need when you're going to start a business. Because none of this happens overnight. The name of the show, Live in the Vision. We all have to start somewhere and want to get somewhere else. So I think it's remarkable what you guys have done to kind of get into it at a young age. I mean, you're not a very old guy, and you and your brother are doing a great job.